فبدون الإطالة عليكم نرحب بضيوفنا ونترك الميكروفون مع الأستاذ جاسم ونبتدي. جزاكم الله خير.
الدكتور كان له حضور حق هالايفنت يعني، فبنسوي لكم خلاصة يعني، بدل ما كنا يعني نخلي الناس بس تجينا، احنا اليوم حاولنا نخلي الفرصة نجيكم بالتيك اويز، الملخص مال الايفنت نفسه. وطبعا اذا تعرفون مثلا السيمبوزيوم انا اسميه ذا ماذر اوف سمتس. عندنا سمتس على مدار السنه، السمتس هذه تعطينا فرصه ان نخصص التوبكس على مواضيع معينه، بس بالنهايه نهايه السنوات عاده تصير في ملخص كامل حق كل السمتس becomes into a symposium. فالسيمبوزيوم راح تشوفون فيه ومضات من عده مواضيع مهمه جدا، وراح نعطيكم فرصه تشوفون وتفهمون شنو اللي جاينا في المستقبل بطريقه جدا فعاله وعمليه. يعني Gartner is very well known
يكفي معنا the rest of the details is welcome to join us. So من هذا المنطلق the 8 key takeaways. الكي take away الأولى اللي هي will be the focus of this session سميناها walking the golden path to value. الذكاء الاصطناعي has been in the past 3 years the focus of technology. However, after 3 years we are seeing that the value of AI is yet to be realized. So السؤال اللي بيطرحه هذا السكشن how can we realize value من الذكاء الاصطناعي. The second trend was about the top technology trends other than artificial intelligence. يمكن أكيد سامعين بquantum computing, cloud, all of these trends, cybersecurity that are really shaping technology were the focus of the top strategic trends. That said, الذكاء الاصطناعي عم بكون عليه أو is resulting in impacts that you cannot reverse. So وقتها تستعملوا الذكاء الاصطناعي بالعمل اليومي هيك أفضل، عم نلاحظ إنه when you get used to it you cannot work without it. So there are impacts that are happening that are not reversible when it comes to artificial intelligence. Now, in order to push artificial intelligence transformation, there are 2 characters or 2 types of people. People who like to disrupt and use artificial intelligence directly, and people who like to wait for technology to mature. They're called cultivators. Whereas the first group are called disruptors. There are the early adopters, the people who would like to use artificial intelligence on a daily basis. Now, artificial intelligence is also shaping the way infrastructure is working. So where there's more focus on cloud, There's more focus on cloud computing. And for you who maybe follow the stock market, we've noticed cloud computing companies are exploding in terms of their value. And this is driven by the fact that cloud computing and artificial intelligence could be the way going forward. Now, on the people side, artificial intelligence is creating a bit of anxiety, worries. We did a survey, and 62% of the people we surveyed had a negative feeling about the future. They don't see a bright future. And that's a bit alarming. And this is driven by people feeling the lack of psychological safety. Then we're going to talk a bit about AI in the future and the emerging technology vision, especially about autonomous business, which is mostly AI that drives a type of decision making. So with that, I'll start with the first section, which is AI. Over the years, we've evolved how we look at AI. I would like to bring your attention to this, the clicker might not show, to the second point. 74% من الفاينانشال leaders ما عم بيشوفوا value بال AI use cases that are there. هلا, there's various reasons for that. One is نحن ما عم نعرف to calculate properly the return on investment from AI. Because AI has a lot of ways that it provides value. But will government entities, they do not have the right measures in place to capture and measure the value from AI. أنا رح أعطيكم على سبيل المثال، أكيد مين منكم بيستعمل AI؟ أو مين بيستعمل various tools of AI. إذا ال AI saved you an hour per day, what would you most probably do with this hour? Sleep? Sorry? Use AI more. Get more work done. Well, I would get a coffee, see my kids. So a lot of things what are happening is when people are saving time from AI, they're actually having something called productivity leakage, which is basically are taking the saved time to do other activities which are not related to work. Which means that it's very hard to actually measure that return on investment because the employee is doing the same job, but faster. With that in mind, CFOs, financial leaders, are having challenges in measuring the ROI, and that's why 11% only of AI use cases and initiatives have resulted in proper ROI. وبلس نحن our roles and responsibilities وقتنا كيف متقسم ما بيحسب efficiencies brought by AI. So there needs to be a change in our roles and responsibilities in order to better manage AI. And guess what? AI has a lot of hidden costs. تفضل. Financial sense. So it's the return on investment. إذا أنا عم بحط $1 million in AI, how much I am getting back, either in terms of growing my revenue if I'm a business, saving costs, a government entity, or productivity gains that are resulting in certain budget savings. So it has to translate that to a number, yes. So it could be very simple. إنه مثلا I would like to have a mental health strategy for my employees. Part of the mental health strategy is إنه مثلا خفف الworkload على employees لياخدوا وقت أكتر يقضوا مع عيالهم. this, if I can translate it, if I use AI وصار كل موظف عم بيشتغل ساعة أقل, that means I saved that much in terms of cost محل mental health program. It translates into an ROI. But the problem is, am I able to measure these, and is it really creating that value? So what's really stopping AI from
AI to be on the same page here. It's not only limited to generative AI. So AI could be used for, like example, image recognition, for parking acceptance, many other implementations. So whenever you say AI, it's not only limited to the most common used generative AI that most employees are using. So just to be on the same page.
I think this is a perfect point, because maybe I should have asked these questions early. Anybody knows the difference between conversational AI, AI agents, and agentic AI? We're going to answer it in this. So, conversational AI is AI مثل ما بتحكوا معه بتشات جي بي تي مثل ما بتستعملوا جيميناي. I'm just using these. I'm not favoring any vendor over the other. I'm just saying these are the typical tools that are being used. When you go a bit further, AI agents are agents that are able to create a task. For example, if you want AI to approve an expense report, I always use it, or to approve a vacation, it created or it did a certain task. This becomes an agent. It's more autonomous. It's doing a task. Now, if a task requires multiple agents to be done, this is where the concept of agentic AI comes to play, where AI agents are taking several decisions and completing a task end to end. So all of these are considered under AI. So we came to AI and we said there's 2 dimensions for AI. We call it the Gartner positioning system, GPS. It's taken from the global positioning system. We found out that there is 2 dimensions, as I said, that impact AI. One is technology readiness. Is AI ready to be deployed from a cost perspective, KPIs perspective, technology perspective? The other part, which is as important, is human readiness. We have one prediction that says by 2028, 30% of AI use cases or initiatives will fail due to human resistance. And we're seeing it. We're seeing in digital transformations historically, 50% of digital transformations fail because of culture change. So human readiness is lagging to AI readiness. And you see these 2 bars here. AI readiness is accelerating very fast. There's so many AI tools. The rate of innovation is extremely fast. If you feel life is getting faster, I can tell you this is the slowest it will be. It's going to get faster and faster and faster. So humans, on the other hand, are not fully ready to adopt AI. Whether it is in change management, whether it's in training, whether it's in anxiety, whether it's fear of being replaced by AI. But the reality is, humans are still not ready to adopt AI. Until we move to high human readiness and high AI readiness, which is the ultimate area or ultimate tile in the GPS, we still need a long way to advance in AI. So, just a couple of statistics. Adoption of AI is growing very fast. We expect that typically in general, 15% of employees are fully adopting AI, but we expect AI to be adopted by almost 45 to 50%. Not just that, it's the type of AI that will be adopted. So far, if I ask you what you would use AI, you'd say, I use it to write emails. I use it to search in a more smarter way. I use it to summarize a document. I might use it to write a draft of a research. I might use it to read a contract. But still, it's mostly conversational. It's not taking a decision. With time, AI will evolve to become more of a decision-making tool. هذا أفضل. For him to. So أنا صوتي شوي عالي أوقات فبخاف من الميكروفون, so I put it down. So let me know if the sound is not clear. So one of the reasons that we're still not adopting AI in our daily life is the accuracy rate. The accuracy rate of AI is around 25 to 20%. It is getting better on a daily basis. عم بيتحسن. يعني إذا استعملنا newer AI tools that are coming, you notice a higher accuracy rate in AI. However, we cannot track the accuracy of AI. If you think how many AI tools you use, can you know how many answers of AI were correct and how many answers of AI were wrong? I want to take a scenario with you. If AI is 80% accurate and it's helping you to correct an exam for a student, will you accept an 80% accuracy rate of correction? 20% of students potentially failing or succeeding because AI did wrong? So the accuracy rate depends also on the industry. Like in healthcare or public safety, you need a high accuracy rate. If you're doing statistics, you might accept, or surveys, you might accept a lower accuracy rate because by design, they have a margin of error. So really the adoption of AI per sector is depending on your risk acceptance threshold. The more you accept risk, the most probably the more you will use AI or accept AI. Now, we created something called the AI Accuracy Survival Toolkit. And we said in order to boost AI adoption across any entity, you need to have one formal metrics to measure the impact of AI. What is AI really saving me? Two, you need to have a human in the loop so far, which what we call or a two-factor error checking. I was talking to Jassim yesterday with one of our clients, and we mentioned something called agent guardians or guardian agents, which will be agents that will guard AI agents, because there will be a lot of AI agents, and we cannot consistently have the same number of people monitoring the transactions. And there's the good enough ratio. When would you accept AI, or what level of accuracy in AI that you will accept in order to use AI? Will it be 80%? Will it be 90%? Or will it be 100%? I doubt we'll reach 100, but if this is the case, it's going to take some time for us to use AI. Costs. We're noticing that most AI projects are going above costs. When we take AI costs, since it is a new innovative technology, we don't have the background to actually do a proper budgeting for every AI project. What we're noticing is there is 10 costs that are hidden for every single AI tool that we are implementing. And these start simply by training costs. To train your employees to use AI takes time. AI needs to learn, and you need to learn as well. So there's a 25% increase in cost due to training. Change management, adoption. You need people, you need days. It could be to 100% of the cost of AI. On top, there is the cost of using AI or using the tool for other use cases. There's the cost of infrastructure, there's the cost for security. So there's so many hidden costs under every single AI tool that it actually increases the overall budget and reduces the return of investment. On top, it's important to know who you select as your AI partner. In the keynote, there was a very nice slide. Since I had to do a summary, I had to remove the slide, but they said, selecting an AI vendor is like marrying the vendor, getting kids with the vendor, and moving a country with the vendor. It's such a commitment that it really will influence most of your decisions going forward. And I'll give you a very simple example. I always use this example. When you are driving your car, and let's say a pedestrian is passing the red light, you are taking the decision to either potentially bump the pedestrian, or potentially injure yourself and move away and hit the sidewalk. Imagine AI is taking this decision. Just as a thought. I'll give you an easier use case. If you are correcting a qualitative test, you are deciding based on that if a student needs to is to succeed or fail. You are taking that decision as a teacher. Imagine this decision is taken by AI. Imagine a justice decision is not taken by a judge, it's taken by AI. How comfortable will you be by that? But this is not just the question. The question is, this decision is being taken based on a logic of an LLM model that was developed in a country which has different cultural norms and different thinking than you. And that's why we're seeing a lot of LLM models being developed locally, such as Alam in Saudi, such as Falcon in UAE. So selecting the right vendor is extremely important. It doesn't mean you have to go with the big vendor who has the highest valuation and the flashiest AI technology. You need to really think about the right vendor that fits you and that has the right partners to help you deploy AI effectively. Now, this is a very nice statistic. I'll finish this statistic and I'll pass the mic. Large vendors, and I'm going to read this, spend more on AI infrastructure per quarter, for 3 months, more than the individual annual GDP of 47% of the world's economies or countries. So just imagine how much money is being put in AI by mega vendors and by big vendors.
Can we assume as soon as you commit to a vendor, you're automatically locked in? Or are there ways to be loosely coupled from vendors? Because that's another risk that needs to be taken into account. It seems, as you said, it's like getting married, moving to another country. So the commitment seems quite significant. Any advice in that regard?
So the first advice is you have to have a very rigorous vendor selection process. We as Gartner, since we saw this as a very important area, we created something called the AI Agentic Compass, which includes every single dimension you can think of when selecting a vendor. So you are very aware of the risks that you are taking when selecting a vendor or of the benefits when selecting a vendor. This is one. In terms of the lock-in, like any technology that you have, you will most probably end up with multiple vendors. But your main vendor, like any technology, if you have a certain vendor in ERP and you're moving to a new vendor in ERP, there is a cost of migration that you will have to bear, and there is the business disruption that will happen. Because remember, the language model that you're using has access to your data, is trained on the way you think. So when you move to a new model, you have to train the model again, you have to give it access to your data, you have to wait for it to be knowledgeable. So yes, there is a certain lock-in, you can definitely migrate, but there's a cost for the lock-in and the migration.
Just from personal experience, one of the large vendors, I think they're trying to get their money they spend on infrastructure on us. For example, we had asked them to do a simple chatbot based on one document just to answer questions. And Dr. محمد knows, the price for the chatbot was 10,000 KD per month. So I think one of the problems we have is having to rely on these large vendors because they have the infrastructures, the power to power these AI systems. When do you see a timeline where we could host our own LLMs locally and on our servers?
So on the timeline, there are countries all over the world that are creating their own LLMs. there's a big topic which I'm going to discuss in the second part, which is called digital sovereignty, السيادة الرقمية. This is currently a major topic that is happening, and there's 3 layers for this. One is, as you've mentioned, having the data in your premise or in your country, then being able to operate the servers and infrastructures and applications. And the last part, which is being technologically sovereign, where you have the technology and the LM model to actually replace the big vendors or replace something which is not local. The timeline will depend on the people in your country who are developing the models, or if there's a direction to do that. Now, it has to be feasible, and it has to be really, and it has to work for you. Currently, there isn't a lot of countries who have digital sovereignty. Maybe 2 countries actually have the end-to-end spectrum. So on the short term, there is no timeline I see. It really depends on the on the country and the vision of the country and what do you want to do technology. In terms of AI sovereignty specifically, it's one of the key topics right now on the agendas of most countries. But I would say you have to be comfortable with a certain level of dependence on the big vendor. And it's not about if you should be AI sovereign or not. It's not just about if you should be AI sovereign or not. It's about having a business continuity management plan. If something happened, like you need to change vendors, how would you do that with minimum disruption?
Well, there should be initiatives, inshallah, very soon. There should be an initiative, inshallah, very soon with one of the large providers. You will hear about it, but my concern is the infrastructure. There is the data, the clean data that could be used by the AI to train it and fine-tune it there. So I don't think it's like something that will happen overnight. But as you said, it's a marriage, right? So it's let's call it a lifelong project for the university to try and make use of the AI initiatives. Hope that answers your question.
Thank you. So how do you get ready for AI? You set your accuracy kit, you decide on your KPIs, you start thinking about how you can make your agents more autonomous rather than having, excuse me, the agents conversational. We will see more agents that are sector specific, and we will see more agents that are task specific, so that they can work together. I know education, because I cover a bit education, is one of the most interesting sectors when it comes to AI. There was big hopes, and some people did some trials where they wanted AI to design a curriculum for every student which is personalized, but not just design it and deliver it and have a virtual teacher, virtual professor there. So far, these initiatives have not picked up, but it's one of these sectors that are very that could be disrupted by AI and are actually at the center of AI. So on that, I would say AI cost is a very important part to consider, and AI vendor selection, having the right vendors and being aware that there's a rise of digital nations, vendors that are very big, that have infrastructure, that they even have their own energy supply, because AI is very energy hungry. It requires massive amounts of power, by the way, that are needed. So the second part is more about the human readiness. If I wanted to sustain the AI value and capture it, I need humans to be ready. Now, when we look at the numbers, we're seeing 70 to 75% of our clients reporting that their employees are not ready for AI. So the human readiness of the workforce is low. I gave you a sneak peek at the beginning. Why is this the case? But there is two cases. But there's two root causes for that. The first root cause is the learning curve. You need to learn AI. You need to do prompt engineering. You need to be able to use the tools. You need to be comfortable in using the tools. So there is a learning curve that needs to happen. The second is a more subtle reason that we all feel it, right? We all feel sometimes anxious when we discuss AI. And the reason for that is really the fear of replacement. Will AI replace some of our tasks? Will we have to do different jobs in the future? Will we stay relevant in the future? And I know you as an education institute are thinking about how to prepare students for the age of AI. What type of skills they need to learn, right? So with that in mind, we did a bit of a survey and statistics on the real impact of AI on job loss. And you've heard maybe certain vendors coming and saying, we've saved you, or we've saved 12,000 employees. We had layoffs of 12,000 employees. What they don't tell you is they hired 10,000 in the background to fill new positions that are needed. So when we look at the actual impact of AI that we're seeing, the actual real impact, there is a hiring freeze that's happening, which is impacting 4% on the top under the big orange bubble, which is called restrain. There is 4% of the jobs being impacted by restraining hiring. What do you think these jobs are? Do you think these are senior jobs? Do you think these are junior jobs? Administrative? Junior? I wouldn't want to graduate in this age, to be honest. I'm happy that I still and my kids are still young, because really the job market and the job expertise are changing. So I'm happy I graduated before, because really speaking, the major freeze that is happening is mostly in junior, in new people are finding it more difficult to find jobs. No, across. I'll give a very simple example of the region. I used to work with. I used to be a consultant. You all know management consultancy. I think a lot of people find it a dream, at least in my country, to join. So before, it was a very labor-intensive, and you know, the senior partners really needed the juniors, the fresh graduates to come and do the work, do the analysis, do the research. Now, with a click of a button, the partner can get all the information he wants. And he has the experience to know if it's correct or wrong. So really speaking, these jobs are being impacted by AI because you need less people to do the same task. We had a nice graph last year in our keynote that said jobs, AI impact depends on the job type. If you have a low, I wouldn't say maturity job, but a typical operational task, like you're a call center agent. If I am a new call center agent and my colleague is an experienced 10 years call center agent, with AI, from day one, I can actually do the same work he's doing. Because AI enables me to pass that, because it's an operational task and AI has the most value of it. Hence, low experience with operational tasks, for example, AI benefit a lot. Now, if I'm a lawyer, do you think if I'm a junior lawyer with AI, I'm better than a senior lawyer with AI? The answer is no. Actually, in complex jobs, AI benefits the senior and the experienced people, not the junior people. Because a junior lawyer, if he creates a contract on AI and there's a mistake, he's not able to know it. Whereas a senior person does not feel like typing and creating a contract, but he's able to directly read mistakes in a contract. So, what about layoffs due to productivity? There is 1% of the layoffs that are happening or are being impacted by AI. So there is a certain impact on certain jobs. But there's another part of this graph downwards that says there is almost several types of jobs, such as AI ethics, such as AI prompt engineering, such as AI governance, that have been created. So what we're noticing is the talent remix is changing, which means that, yes, there is a hiring restraint for junior, where you need to have a proper development strategy for talent, but at the same time, you need to make sure that you remix your talent to be AI ready and AI augmented. You need more data scientists, you need more AI professionals, you need more people who are from the field of AI. And by the way, I'm seeing it in the market. When somebody has the AI expertise, he's in high demand, or he or she is in high demand. When somebody is from a legacy type of job, it's harder to find that job. Now, as academics, if I wanted to ask you, what is one impact of AI that you need to be aware of? Just think, I'll give the answer. But I wanted to get your thoughts. Have you heard about lazy thinking? What is it? Sorry?
I'm facing it with my students, teach them programming, and honestly, they would rather use AI to solve problems and not bother learning. So they're actively getting themselves replaced by AI, by not doing the task, getting the experience, and just letting the AI solve all the problems and do the learning itself. So that's what I think is lazy learning is.
Any other thoughts on it?
Actually, I read a study that was done yesterday or the day before that said after, I think the period was 4 months of using AI, the brain activity for people who use AI continuously have really slowed down. So they're thinking that might be effects on the long term on brain activity, creativity, etc.
So yes, this is, by the way, this is really happening. There's a trend called lazy thinking, where people are offloading decisions to AI. What this means that if they want to do an exam, my wife just completed her MBA, and most of the students around, I noticed, used a lot of the AI models. They were actually encouraged. And back in the day when I did it, and you all know because you're academics, there was no ChatGPT, there were no Gemini, there were no AI tools or Copilot. I had to do the work by myself on a daily basis. So we are seeing a bit of challenges, both for companies, entities, as well as universities, in terms of developing critical thinking in the new generations. This is a real challenge, and this is a challenge that is keeping a lot of academics awake at night. The other challenge is us losing our skills. Some skills are okay to lose. I don't mind an AI tool writing a better email than me. But if I'm a coder, do I really don't mind if AI can code and I don't know how to code anymore? Definitely not, because I'm a coder, I'm supposed to code. What would I do if I don't code? So AI, we have to be conscious that there's certain skills that we lose. I was having this discussion yesterday and I said, who knows how to light a fire anymore? Or who knows how to hunt? Or who knows how to plant? There's certain skills we lost as humans. But we found ways that we don't need them anymore. But there are certain skills that we cannot lose, and we need to continue building these skills.
The idea or the premises that AI is proposing here, from our experience now, we'll be living with some simple technologies. Whenever we write a document, there is an autocorrect, there is a spell checker. It doesn't mean that after using spell checkers and Microsoft Word for now 20 years, we did not lose the ability to write. We did not lose the ability to write a good essay. We did not lose the ability to spell while the information was there. And I case for the there. It's individual based. What is the entity is planning to do? Are there checks on every process? Are we making sure that our employees are doing their actual work? Not lazy thinking, but less stress. Whenever you use AI, we have less stress to worry about my emails. I have less stress to do of doing my due diligence on the documents that I'm reading. There is less stress that frees my mind to do better things related to my work. I never seen or never heard of most of my friends who are using AI to spend more time with their kids. My work hours is the same, but it's less stressful. That's all.
Yeah. So, yes.
Can I compliment on that?
Yes, sure.
Yeah. You know, the mobile, one of the things that it did to our life increased our productivity. And one of the things that it happened with that productivity, this started following you wherever you are, even at home. So when your manager sends you something, he's expecting you, by having this, is to respond. That takes a part of your life. But what AI is doing is giving you back part of your life. And what happens is you can create an agent who can take off some of the tasks, do something that would give you the first time a technology is not taking part of your life. That you can actually put it in a way that it gives you back some sanity. Your time is a little bit given in a certain way in your control. So that's where things are a little bit changing the way we're looking at. And when Gartner defined AI, it defined it in two types. There's the everyday AI, and there's the game changer AI. And they're totally different, in certain setup, in certain cost, and even the way that you have to plan and do things. The everyday AI is what we are doing today. Most of the things that we are doing is productive enablement. But the game changer AI is changing the way the industries are. And some industries are built around being AI native. And this is coming. Today we are embedding AI in our traditional businesses. But there are some new things that will happen that will change the way we see things. Even Gartner had a prediction where in a couple of years it becomes illegal for a doctor to diagnose you without an AI opinion. And that's why, because an AI can find things you're not looking for. And a doctor might be focusing on an X-ray on something specific, and there's some other factors that is there that he should be knowing about. So that's where we augment intelligence to humans, artificial intelligence and human intelligence. And that's the beauty of what is happening. But what we're seeing today, and what I think what we saw in this year's symposium, we're giving people that till now, the design of AI had not fulfilled, the hype. People who had deployed things didn't achieve what they expected. And that's where we are telling people there's, either a line that we need to understand that there's the right way or the wrong way, but there's actually, we don't need to say there's wrong and right. There's a golden path in between. And the value that we need to do is look for value in AI that would change the way we look at things. And that's most of the components. The human factor was the missing part that we found most of the things that are there. So initially, these are things that we feel if we pay attention to, we'll find a good achievement going forward. And planning for it is going to be very important.
And it really depends on the task. What I mean by that, I'll give coders as an example because I see a lot happening in coders, by the way. Coders, my friend is also a coder, he has a company. The new generation coders cannot code without AI. They're used to it. Older generation coders, they barely use AI still, but they're able to code much more efficiently. So this is the type of skills that once you start relying on AI, there will be certain skills it's okay to lose, as mentioned, because it gives you more freedom, better time to focus on value-adding tasks. I don't mind if AI writes my email, or summarizes my email, or summarizes a document, or hears an end-to-end video for me and gives me the insights. That's great. I'm happy. But if AI starts giving advice on my behalf, if AI starts doing the critical thinking jobs I do, and soon enough it will, because it's evolving from being conversational to being more autonomous and decision-making, this is where I will see some of my skills that will change. Sorry.
Regarding the coding, applying coding to using generative AI and helping in coding. Also, I think we still can benefit from the generative AI in coding. I have a research currently funded by Kuwait University with the university in Germany that are also applying coding with generative AI, with the professor here or instructor, faculty member at Kuwait University, Dr. Ashok. She's implementing this on students. We think that instead of neglecting having AI to be used with like it might have some confidence that students might use the code and rely on it, but instead we can raise the level of codes that we have. Like at our age, when we had, like, for example, a project, now could be like a homework. So we can raise the level of the implementation when we use AI. It's like at our age, when we use calculators, we are forbidden to use calculators in exams, but now we ask students to use calculators and we raise the level of expressions and problems to be solved. So this is how we benefit, embrace AI instead of like forbidding or restricting it.
This is an excellent point, because it's not about coming and saying we shouldn't use AI. No, we should adopt AI, but we should be consciously identifying and building the skills in our employees and in our students that are critical for their success in the future. Jasmine.
A real example happened last weekend, the cybersecurity hackathon that happened. The first time they introduced that participants can use AI. And to do a twist to it, they put the most difficult challenges. They never had been put together. And the participant really reached the peak of their capabilities. And that's amazing, because without having that, those challenges would not have been as difficult as they were designed. So complement to what you're saying, it really makes a big difference on putting people on their edge and getting them really to be better.
So I'm conscious of time, and I know we have almost 10 minutes before the first break. So just maybe to go into a couple of final things. We expect more work to be augmented by AI. You always hear the expression, it's not AI to replace humans in the short term. It's actually people who have mastered AI who will replace people, who will replace employees who don't know how to use AI. So we'll see more work being ready and done and augmented by AI. Do be aware of things. You need to have a survival kit. You need to know your costs. You need to prepare your employees through change management and training. Be aware of vendors, regulatory compliance, and AI sovereignty, and think about your autonomous work. So I just wanted to give an example how this evolved over the years in Gartner. The point really, when we started discussing AI, was in 2023, and it's really what Jassim was mentioning. There's two types of cases. There's cases which are productivity. writing an email, summarizing, recording a video, changing a photo. These are productivity tools, scheduling a meeting, transcribing a Teams call, which is a big use case. These are productivity use cases. There is game-changing use cases, having an AI doctor, having a virtual AI advisor such as myself delivering this presentation, having an end-to-end AI teacher. This is what we call game-changing AI that will reshape a certain industry or sector. Cases can either be external or internal. The starting point is to define your AI vision. Do you want to be game-changing or do you want to be everyday? And then plotting the use cases. The next, it's about really the technology. There is this sandwich-like stack. And what it says is there's 3 types of AI. There's AI which is embedded. You have a system from a vendor. You need AI to do a task in the system. You simply get the AI of the vendor. It's embedded inside the system. There's AI which you will bring to your organization. I like using X type of AI. I'll bring it. It's called bring your own AI. There is the bottom layer, which is either built AI or blended AI. People used to build a lot or think they need to build a lot their AI, but it came to realize that it's not commercially viable. Also technology, there's certain limitations. It's impossible that every single entity builds its own LLM model. So what we're seeing is a trend of blended AI, where you take an AI model and you build it. It's called. Now, this sandwich will change depending on your industry. For example, if you're in public and safety, you will notice that the layer which is trust, risk, security in orange will be extremely big. If you're in a non-commercial entity, you don't care about differentiation, you want to really optimize your operation, most probably you'll have a lot of embedded AI. If you're a startup that wants to differentiate, disrupt the market, you will have a lot of built AI or blended AI. So the layers will depend what you want to achieve in your strategy. And now, talking about value and human readiness. I'm looking forward to see what we're going to talk about next year, but as you see, the AI journey is evolving. I just have a small question. I tried in every section to include a very small question. I hope it works, but if you take your mobiles and scan the code, this should take you to, and you can still scan the code here. How ready are you to adopt Gen AI? Are you ready, partially ready, or I would say loading and still in progress? Where do you see the majority of us? This will be live as we enter the votes. It will directly show us the results. So as you remember, 74% of CIOs believe that their workforce is still not ready to use AI. And I'm glad to see that what I'm seeing here is the majority of you are feeling ready. Any thoughts? Anybody wants to share why they feel ready or they feel partially ready and what would get them to be more ready? Yes.
Based on my job where I work right now, we have gigabytes of data that is heavily structured, clean, computer-based. We have all of our documents ready. So I think I was the first one to do we are ready. So that's why I put that in. Because AI is based on what data you have. If your data is messy, if it's not clean, then you're going to have problems. In my case, where we have gigabytes and gigabytes of data that it's clean, comes from computer software. So I think, at least in my position, we are ready in my sector. And
that's a perfect point. Maybe I didn't highlight initially, but a lot of people are finding out that a lot of their AI initial projects are actually data projects. If they structure their data and they fix the data, they end up having a nice AI project. So data is a critical component. Any thoughts about partially ready? Anybody would like to share? So I think it's a 50-50 mix. There's 50% of you who believe they're ready and are excited and they believe they have the skill sets to actually adopt AI. And there's 50% who would say, I know I want to adopt AI, I believe in AI, but I believe that I still need training, change management support to be able to benefit from AI. I will give a bit highlight, maybe Jassim, 2 more minutes, and then we can take a break. I was hoping to cover this in the first section, but I just will give an overview, and then we can break for a couple of minutes. So there are some questions about what is AI, agentic AI, where is agentic AI today, and what are the solutions, and how do I complete the journey to agentic AI. I wanted to give you the Gartner definition of agentic AI. It's basically agents which are able to take a decision, which means they are autonomous or semi-autonomous. That means they need support from humans. And what they say is they're able to perceive, make decisions, take actions, and achieve goals. This is beyond conversational AI. Conversational AI summarizes, creates something simple. There's a decision that is moving from the human to the AI. And that's what we mean by an AI. This could be in a digital world, or this, as we're seeing in a more AI agents will be built in everything. They will be built in our cars. They will be built in our smart homes. They will be built in our manufacturing plant, our energy and utility. They will be built in most of the components that will work. But I want to tell you something. Every single AI agent will be also a cybersecurity threat, just like IoT. It's a door. I was taking an example and saying, imagine you're a bank, and every single transaction in the bank is now approved by an AI agent. It's great, right? It'll be much faster, my transfers will be instantaneous, life for me will be much easier. But you know what's the security threat? It's not the AI agent, it's not the hacker, it's actually the employee who knows the AI agent. Because he might change a bit the AI agent to transfer 0.00001 cent of every transaction to his own account. Millions and billions transactions happening on a daily basis. Imagine how fast he will be able to be rich, and potentially this security threat. So the security threats that are coming will be also quite big because of the AI agents that are coming. I go into the technology details. I'm also not the expert on every technology details, but I'm sure some of you are and have seen this. But there's a huge pattern and different models that are rising, from large language model to RAG models, and each one has its own different use. And this is where I'm going to start the next section, is what are really the elements of an AI agent? There's multiple elements. There's the memory element, which is the data that he memorizes. There's the planning element, the task, how it integrates with other agents and systems, and how it senses the external environment through different IoT devices or robots, and finally the model that works in the background to achieve a particular goal. With that, I'll take a break. If any just final thoughts?
Thank you, Mr. Malik. So we'll take a 10-minute break, and we'll reconvene, inshallah, at 9:10. Thank you so much.
بعدين ناخذكم حق التكنولوجي ترندز
والديجيتال ترانسفورميشن والتحول الرقمي.
والتحول الرقمي.
للتحول الرقمي. أنا رح أبتدأ as you see. طيب
احنا يمكن الاجنتك اذا تعطينا فكره شويه اسرع
سريع.
ايه لان الاجنتك بالنسبه لنا يمكن غطيناه بالموضوع على اساس نكسب الوقت تقدر تغطي المواضيع الثانيه
100%. بس لعمره باخر نحن تركنا السيشن هيدي السلايد. I'll move very quickly to agentic, move to the technology trends. So agentic AI is really about the agent which has a memory, which is able to plan a task, it's able to execute the task, and to execute the task, it's able to interact with multiple other agents and systems, and it's able to sense its environment. And a large model will do the analysis. So this is in a nutshell, just a very quick I wanted to bring. Different companies have started to see the benefit of agentic AI. Example, a company, Orbi, used agentic AI to manage its claims. And what it did, it really reduced by 50% the processing time of the claim. So as we see the operational efficiencies, and that's why we're seeing AI is here to stay, it's starting to bring process improvements. And once these process improvements are in, it's very hard to reverse them or to go back to a model without AI. Similarly, one of the healthcare institutions used AI to address patient inquiries, and it has resulted in almost having 81% of patient inquiries automated. Again, AI will evolve to become autonomous, and this is what it means by an agentic AI. This is something that we see in the circle orange on the bottom happen almost in the coming 6 to 8 years. There's a lot of vendors out there. There's a lot of competition happening when it comes to agentic AI, and a lot of people are believing that AI agents might replace software as we know it. So they're the next iteration of the software. But be careful of one thing, and this is very important, is be careful of over-investing in AI, so your current and AI agents that you think are great, in 1 year down the line, as the technology matures, they actually become obsolete, and they become tomorrow's technical debt.
عرفتوا الحين عندنا سؤال اعطيناكم اياه بالبدايه مفروض الحين تعرفون تجاوبونه. شنو الفرق بين الكونفرزيشنال اي اي والايجنت الاي اي ايجنت والاجنتك؟ يلا منو يقدر يجاوب هالسؤال؟ تعرفون الفرق الحين؟ يلا انا بغششكم. الشات جي بي تي از كونفرزيشنال، فمعناته شنو؟ الواحد يقدر يسولف معاه بس ما قاعد ياخذ اكشن اون يور بيهاف، ما قاعد يسوي لكم تاسكات معينه. لذلك حتى اذا شفتوا الشات جي بي تي صار شيء اسمه ايجنت. هذا الايجنت ممكن يروح يسوي لكم بحث عن فنادق، نشاطات عديده، لكن في وقت من الاوقات راح يصير عنده حدود، يعني ما يقدر يسوي كل التاسكات، لان اذا الفكره اللي انت اعطيته اياها ما تدرب عليها ما راح يعرف يسويها. لكن الجنتك لا، هذا اذا وجد مشكله ما يرجع لك، يحاول يدور طريقه ثانيه، يحاول لما يوصل حق اللي انتم معطينه اياه از تاسك، فكانه صاير اوتونوموس، كانه بروحه قادر يتصرف. فهذه المرحله المتطوره من الاي اي ايجنت صار اسمه اجنتك اي اي. تمام؟ عرفتوا الحين الموضوع هذا.
And just to let you know, نحن our predictions is agentic AI software, يعني في agentic AI will have much more spending than software with no agentic AI. The one with agentic AI is the light blue graph, and the one without agentic AI is the dark blue graph. So we are seeing a shift of entities and companies spending more and more on software which has agentic AI. So,
في إضافة جديدة. If you can take it back, because someone was taking a photo. صورت. فيزا وماستر كارد أطلقوا مؤخرا طريقة جديدة إنه ممكن نعطي الايجنت مالنا الاي اي ايجنت قيمة كريدت كارد. شنو راح يفيد هذا؟ من يحب الشوبينج؟ أنا صراحة أحب الشوبينج بس يضيع وقتي. زين؟ ممكن أنا أعطي الايجنت أو ايجنتك كريدت كارد خاصة فيه، وهو يروح يبحث ويدور سواء عروض فنادق، طيران، مرات تذاكر حق مباريات، أيا كان. روح وهو أنا أعطيه التاسك مالته وراح وهو يدبر لي الموضوع اللي أنا أبيه بأفضل سعر، ويمكن ينتظر ويمكن يدور الخصومات ويروح يشتري الموضوع ويخلص لي كل المسألة. صار عندي حتى هذه الجانب تغلبنا عليها، صار في قيمة خاصة حق الاي اي يقدر يروح يصرف on my behalf. فهذه التطورات اللي الحين قاعد نشوفها اللي راح تفيد ان شاء الله في المرحلة الجاية.
أنا بس بدي أنهي الموضوع إنه make the value of AI clear, whether it is بالcost, بالquality, بالsavings من ناحية السرعة أو من ناحية scalability. So make sure that you measure the clear impact of agentic AIs. ونحن توقعاتنا رح يكون في AI agents that are sector specific, that are task specific, that are domain specific, and these will change as we go forward. So انتقل هلا لتوب تكنولوجي ترندز. نحن عادة كشركة جارتنر كل سنة بننشر two types of research، وأنا I really like this research a lot. واحد of the research هو بنسميه prediction which is very futuristic، هو التوقعات من جارتنر كيف السوسايتي والتكنولوجي will evolve. One is a bit shorter term لأنه هو بيحكي عن التحولات الرقمية أو technology trends which today I'm going to take you in, which is شو هن فعليا التوجهات بالتكنولوجيا that is shaping the technology landscape. هالسنة حطينا التكنولوجي ترند ب 3 buckets: the architect, the synthesist, and the vanguard. The architect is somebody or the trends that are building the platforms. The synthesis are actually trends that are integrating the whole ecosystems together and making sure you have a multi-agent type of approach. And finally, the vanguard are really the trends that are building the trust and governing the systems that they are deploying. So 3 different buckets, and these are the trends in each bucket. The light blue in this graph is the trends that are happening now, that we're seeing today. The trends that are in the slightly darker blue are the near-term trends, which is in 1 to 2 years. The dark blue trends are the futuristic trends. Our focus is really the trends in the light and the dark, and the partially dark blue. So the first trend is the architect. We're seeing a rise of supercomputing platforms that are dedicated for AI, which is building AI-ready infrastructure. You're seeing like NVIDIA, chips that are specifically being developed for AI. There's the rise of digital platforms, AI specific. We're seeing this on multi-agent AI, agentic AI, multi-agent AI. We're going to see AI move from the digital sphere to the physical world. And finally, there will be sector-specific and domain-specific models. There will be, for example, a healthcare-specific LLM model, not a generic model like ChatGPT when it was developed, cross-sector, cross-domain model. We are seeing models that are more sector-specific. In the vanguard space, we're seeing focus on cyber security, on digital provenance and geopartisan AI sovereignty. So let's get a summary of these trends one at a time. So first of all, AI native development platforms. These are platforms that are dedicated to solutions. Everybody, all the technology landscapes are deploying their own AI platforms that are AI natives, which work with the employees in a synchronous manner to develop new AI applications. Why is this very important for you? Because this really helps your team to develop AI native applications and develop the right tools and drive proper and more optimized computing. The second one is AI supercomputing platform. These are purpose-built infrastructures and workloads and applications specifically for AI. It really has, if I wanted to say it in a very simple fashion, it's actually having the right infrastructure that supercharges your AI journey. This will enable enhanced speed, better innovation. It's building your whole IT infrastructure with AI atop of your mind. Now, the second that we're seeing, which are imminent, are actually the multi-agent system. Imagine AI agents talking to each other to do a task. Yesterday I was discussing a particular workflow, and imagine your employee has to book a business flight, right? Imagine the workflow now where the employee goes to a conversational agent and says, what are my entitlements, or how should I book a flight? So the agent goes into the internal policies, it checks, it finds out that, you know what, since this flight of more than 8 hours, you can book a business flight, you can use a 4-star hotel, this is your expense policy. This is a conversational platform that gave the employee his entitlements based on the policies. One step further is to come and tell the employee, give me the options. The agent, the AI agent, give me the option and give me the approval to book my ticket. Before, this approval was in the hands of the manager. So AI goes and checks the employee entitlement and provides an approval and releases the budget for the employee to start the booking process. This is still an AI agent that's taking one task, which is approving the employee's travel. The third layer is booking the travel. Imagine now through AI, the employee asks the agent to provide all the options, book the travel, talk to the hotels, and handle all the things, which usually required a travel agency, it required HR, it required finance, it needs access to different systems. This is what is meant by multi-agent systems that interact together and work together. And this is where we're seeing the rise of modular architecture in your architecture, where you can plug in different agents in and out. And this is a very imminent technology trend that is happening. Optimize your workflow processes, multiple rise of AI models tailored to specific domains, tasks, or sectors, where the model lives and breathes the data of that particular sector. Imagine a model that only does healthcare. It will only work on healthcare data. The model will be much more expert and much more trained on this data than a generic model that touches just the healthcare data among other data. So we are seeing really these domain-specific, sector-specific that are outperforming additional generalist models that are happening. And we'll see more of that because this will reduce hallucinations. This will drive more accuracy and more relevance in the recommendations. Remember, AI models are still 20% inaccurate or 80% accurate. But if we train the model only on specific data, which is domain specific, the model will be more. And finally, you might see a lot of the news recently, robots coming more to life. We're seeing more advancements in the field. But in general, we're seeing more the physical world, whether it is through cameras, whether it is CCTV, it is through robots, sensors, etc. But now it's touching more the physical world. And we are expecting through the increase in drones, robots, IoT sensors, smart devices, that AI will sense more and more the physical world, will understand more the physical world, and will share the physical world with humans. That is the trend that we are expecting in the coming 1 to 5 years. Finally, vanguard trends, which is the governance trends of the new technologies. Security. I cannot stress enough the importance of cyber security and preemptive security. It's been in the past symposium, Gartner is focusing on AI agents creating security attacks and AI agents defending against cybersecurity attacks. I'm seeing a lot of the scams these days, which are increasing, are driven more by AI agents. So cybersecurity is becoming a central piece in the AI journey. Every IoT device we used to add, it used to be a security backdoor. Every AI agent that we will add, which will be in the billions, will be a security backdoor. Hence, we need to have very active preemptive security where we have our AI agents assessing actively security threats, creating a programmatic approach to mitigate the threats before they happen. So instead of waiting for a cybersecurity attack, you need to be able to predict a cybersecurity attack and mitigate it before happening. Or else, you might face multiple security threats. So you need to understand the different attack points, the different surface grids, and you need to be able to be ahead of the curve. And this really brings a lot of importance because historically we've been reactive, or our detection always lags, or we put the firewalls and this is our detection. Now we need to be more proactive in the way we manage these threats across the different layers. I was watching a video last time. This is a bit different than this trend, but I wanted to give some context of my favorite basketball player of all time missing a critical shot. The video was so real that my son was next to me and he believed that it was missed. It was a famous shot by Michael Jordan against the Utah Jazz, which is a classical shot. If you watch the video, you would not know at any point that the shot was actually made. In reality, because I watched the real movie or the real game, I knew that the shot was made and the championship was won. My son didn't. So trustworthiness is becoming a challenge these days in general, considering the AI, the trend, or the recent Oxford study that said potentially the internet itself will no longer exist because AI will generate fake content will train AI, and AI will only be less impactful. It's a scenario. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it's a scenario making the internet obsolete, right? This is a study by Oxford, which was done last year. Again, it's a scenario study of a potential outcome. But what's really happening is, now with AI, can you trust a digital asset? How would you trust it? It's now so easy to create fake digital documents using AI I don't know if some of you have recently used, and again, I'm not marketing any tool, I'm just mentioning it as a tool, Nano Banana by Google, which is an AI photo editing tool. It's extremely easy to use. Through a string of text, you can totally alter a tool. Yesterday, Jassim was taking a picture with us, with a background which is not that great. I told him very easy, put it on Nano Banana, put a small prompt of the background you want. In 1 second or in 5 seconds, you will get an amazing picture with a totally different background and you will not know the difference. So how would you ensure trustworthiness of the digital assets in the AI age? There will be including certain certifications, etc., but you really need to have the right tools in place to be able to assess and to generate the right proof of origins and have trustworthiness in the digital assets. Finally, I've discussed this in the previous section, but geo-partition, or which is what I call sovereignty, السيادة الرقمية, is becoming a big topic. It's really not about having everything sovereign. It's really knowing the risks that you're facing, having a proper business continuity plan, and managing your sovereignty and knowing your alternatives. So if I have a particular call application from a particular vendor, what should I do, or what alternatives should I have in order to protect me if this vendor, for example, my partnership with this vendor comes to an end? Or not even my partnership with this vendor comes to an end. What if this vendor has a technical issue and a certain downtime? We've mentioned CrowdStrike the other day. You've seen recently multiple mega vendors, systems going down and disruptions in operations. How can I mitigate that? How can I get a different perspective? And this is where we're seeing in the technology a lot of focus on understanding the different sovereignty requirements, having a set of vendors and having the right ecosystem in play. Again, our recommendation, first mentality in your data, in your application, in your enterprise architecture to prepare for hybrid infrastructures. Invest in security, I would say massively, properly, in order to protect your infrastructure and govern the different frameworks there. Train your AI and make sure it is integrated with the physical and monitor the new standards, regulations, and ensure sovereignty. With that, shift to the more lighter sides, which is how to manage change and what change is coming. So I'll skip some slides just for the sake of time. I want to see how the work is going to change in the future. And these changes are irreversible. Once they happen, you cannot go back. Once you are using AI to, for example, process claims, you are able to process much more claims. Can you go back and use humans? The answer is no, because the efficiencies that AI brought cannot really be reversed. So expect AI to be a work orchestrator. It will orchestrate work across multiple business processes and create a decision. I like this because sometimes we think it's not going to happen, the middle one, but if you see, every single employee has a colleague robot. Imagine you are working and you have your own AI assistant that attends calls with you and summarizes them, then goes and helps you to prepare for your meeting, generates your presentations for review. It's your actual AI assistant, an employee, an AI employee who is you're interacting with daily and basically your colleague. And finally, imagine AI is a decision maker. It will happen. You might have heard in the news certain students or kids having certain sad consequences because they depended on AI so much that it resulted in certain life-threatening situations. This is the reality happening, by the way. I notice the new generation, for example, every single decision, what to wear, what to eat, they want to ask AI. These things are happening at a faster rate than what we believe. I will pass this because I would like to focus a bit more on how to drive transformation. AI is not a technology-only journey. AI is a business journey. So you need all the business units and the technology leaders to coordinate together in order to drive a successful AI journey. It's not only technology that will drive AI. AI has to have a business outcome, and hence you have to have the technology leaders enacted in AI. So what's happening on the AI front, and how can you drive journey? I will repeat the message for sure. So AI is a journey. It's a journey that involves multiple stakeholders. It's not only technology, it's really the business that needs to contribute and support the AI journey. AI is to deliver and to support the business to deliver a business outcome, and hence it should be driven and supported by your business partners, not IT only. That's the key word. So with that in mind, you need to have everybody working together. How we started, if you remember the radar that I showed, when we started the radar, we said, or the way we do it, we always bring all the leaders in an entity together in one room, the challenges, and we ask them to brainstorm the use cases that will address the business challenges going forward. So, how would you navigate the change? Because as we said also, the change is very hard to navigate. You will have two types of people in your organizations, and you are, as IT, you should help these people. One are the disruptors. These are people who would love anything which is new, that they will try it. They don't care as much on risk as much as the cultivators. Cultivators are more patient people. I, for example, always don't buy the latest iPhone or phone. I wait a while until it's stable, and then I would buy it. I'm more of a cultivator. A disruptor would wait in line to buy the latest technology device. Jasmine, my colleague, is a disruptor. Every time I come to Kuwait, he shows me new devices I didn't know exist. So there's different people who are more disruptors and early adopters of technology, and there's people cultivators. Just for you to know, 10% of organizations make business decisions sometimes. This could result in disruption, which could create chaos. However, 55% of organizations are too slow in adopting the AI. What will happen? You will stagnate and fall behind. You really need a balance between the two. And you need to know your employees, you need to know your leaders. Behaviors of disruptors are more people who are independent, who would really overlook continuity and focus quickly on a new trend. Behaviors of cultivators are people who are patient, who would wait a bit until something is more mature. However, they can actually result in stagnation. And sometimes when we are driving transformation, we forget about the cultivators and only drive it through the disruptions. That said, cultivators play a very important role in transformation because what they do might be subtle and quiet and unseen, but it's typically very sustainable and it has a cumulative outcome. Now, no one side. If you are driving transformation, you need both. You need the champion who are disruptors, who will do things very quickly for you, and you need the cultivators that will ensure and mitigate risks and ensure your core business and your core processes are not impacted, are not put at unnecessary risk. So it's both rather than one. And the way in Gartner we look at this, and it's complex to go into details, but the high level of this slide is it really depends on the task. There are some tasks in the transformation that you need to map for disruptors. There are some tasks in the transformation that you need to give to cultivators. And it's up to you to decide how to map and how to identify your change agent, your organization. So what are the actions? Plot your transformation initiatives on a large scale and understand the needs, where you need a cultivator, where you need a disruptor, and ensure strong business cases that are there and a safety foundation for you. Now, I'll run more quickly through these because I know we have maybe around 10 minutes before we break, but just to let you know, there's a lot of trends that are impacting the adoption of technology. There's geopolitical conflicts, there's tariffs, there's executive orders, there's Dodge in the US, there's inflation, there's dissatisfaction of cloud, and there's also technology advances. One thing we are seeing, which is actually AI needs the cloud. It needs a lot of energy, it needs a lot of power. But what we are seeing as a trend is there's an evolution towards a more multi-cloud model. So by 2030, over 60% of enterprises will definitely perform AI model and AI activities in one cloud, but will leverage it in another, which is up for. So if you look at the graph on the right side or your left side, you will notice that we are evolving from a one cloud only model to more a multi-cloud model, which could be two clouds, which could be a single strategic cloud and a strategic provider, or it could be a multiple tactical providers. And this is something we expect as we have more, I would say, disruption happening and more of a VUCA. I'll pass this section in general, but I'm just gonna give a high level of the IT role. IT will play a very important role in the transformation for AI. You need to train the employees, you need to educate the employees, you need to deploy the right systems, you need to partner with the business in order to get the use cases. So remember, employees are facing a kind of like a psychological change as well when it comes to AI. There's a fear of the unknown, and there's also some of them feeling a fear on their jobs. And this means that you have to have a more open, productive debate with the employees. Make sure you bring the employees early on in the AI journey. Have an open environment to voice out concerns. We are seeing that typically in virtual environments, it's harder to understand people's dissatisfaction. So you might have to have that face-to-face interaction and make sure that there is a courageous conversations and you actually reward people who bring up challenges and help you navigate this journey. It's a long journey, and again, for the sake of time, it is an important one to consider. Now, I want to talk finally about the final point, which is leadership and management in transformation. AI is also reshaping leadership. We are expecting organizations to be more flattish. Now, if you look at organizations, middle management is very heavy on operational work, etc. We'll expect AI to offload a lot of the operational work from middle management and make them more focused on value-adding tasks. It's reshaping the way leadership is. Do you know that certain countries have enacted an AI minister? I've seen companies in the region, now they have an AI board of director. These things are happening at the top level. So AI is shifting the role. I had a presentation in the AI summit in the UAE at the beginning of the year where we discussed the change of the AI or the Maverick CEO to become an AI-enabled Maverick CEO. So AI in the decision of senior management. A change in leadership. We are seeing AI in training, by the way, and in mentorship. And it's resulting in direct enhancements. One of the insurance companies used AI to train underwriters, and their success rate in tests increased by 75%. AI as a reviewer, you're using it to review contracts, review emails, to support you. AI is being used by big companies in their interview process on a daily basis. And AI is being used as a sounding board, as a minister, as a board member. This is shaping the future of management and leadership. Of that, think about where you can use AI as a mentor. In the education sector, can I use AI to help new students being onboarded to campus, to give them a brief, to train them about the tools, to actually give them certain high-level certifications? Can I use AI to guide them through the different university processes, through the different university courses? I found it very hard when I joined about all the courses over there. So by 2028, we expect 75% of employees will be trained and coached by AI into a new role. Second, AI will be a reviewer. It will augment you. As teachers, imagine how easy it is for AI to review tests, or to review material, or to review your presentations. Or imagine for managers how it would be effective if AI can help you in writing performance reviews at the end. So think about how AI can be a virtual assistant, and we are seeing in the industry that 50% of CEOs to use AI to reduce middle management and delayer it, because it will be able to receive the decisions much faster. Finally, enable the manager to focus more on the high value tasks versus the low value tasks. Finally, it's being used as a sounding board. This is reality. The cases are there. We are seeing it on a daily basis. It can help you to prepare for a debate, for example, by giving you counter arguments. You can use it to see how you're communicating, how your decision is, to scrutinize it, to get more data, to interpret the data. Last time I was talking with a CFO friend of mine, and he's using AI initially to crunch through the balance and the different financial statements and numbers. As a sounding board for every individual is becoming more and more important. I want to mention something about particularly AI. Over the past year, entities has focused a lot on the individual to change AI. But actually, if you really want to adopt AI, you need to focus on the managers. I gave an example of myself. One of my team members just joined, and he came to me with a task. He said, "How do I do this task? If I didn't myself as a manager adopt AI, I would typically tell him how I used to do it. But what I told him how to do it was through how I am using AI to actually do this task. And this new team member directly started using AI. Imagine across my whole team of 8 or 9 people. If I adopt AI by design in my meetings, in my discussions with my team, I am changing the behavior of all of my team in AI at scale. Instead of targeting every single individual in AI transformation, focus on your first-line managers, focus on your middle management, because if they're convinced in AI and if they're adopting AI, by design, their teams will adopt AI. It's one of the hacks that we're seeing happening in. As I wrap up, 60% of will rely on their direct manager. Important to train the manager. 75% of most of the CEOs are looking into delayering middle management, and AI benefits for experience as it stands right now is more than junior workers. So recommended action, do start thinking about AI simulators, deploy your virtual assistant, and increase your manager's span of value. With that, I want to ask you a question for you as I wrap up. I gave you the answer at the beginning, but I wanted to get your feeling as we wrap up this session. Now that you heard about and that you heard about all of this, how do you feel about the future? Are you more positive? Or are you positive? Are you neutral? Are you negative? How do you feel about the future? I'm seeing negative, I'm seeing positive. Good, I see a lot of positivity. I feel a lot of positivity about the future as well. And as the polls come in, I still see the majority of you are more positive about the future. And that's good, still hanging at 70%. Now, sadly speaking, the future sentiment is negative. 62% feel that we are worse off today. But honestly speaking, it's up to us. And that's the message I would like to leave with you. Yes, there is some backlash coming on AI, but it could be a new era for humans. It's actually up to us. It's up to us to grab the moment and take control of the future. It's how we use the technology, like everything. It's how we use the technology, how we plan for the technology, and how we prepare for what's coming. And the future will be brighter for all of us, hopefully, inshallah. With that, thanks. I'll give it for some final words. We did finish on time as much as possible.
Do you want to give them an opportunity for questions?
If somebody has any questions, I'm more than happy to take.
First of all, thank you for your presentation. I just have a question. Like before the break, you have mentioned that you might not worry if the AI managed to write a good email, but you may worry if he become a better coder. For me, as a computer engineer, why would I be worried if the AI could make a better code than I do, or a graphical design, AI can become better than a graphical design? I think if I want to worry about something, I should worry if one day I take my children to the kindergarten or nursery and has been replaced by an AI, the teachers. Or my teenager son go to school and find out the social worker has been replaced by AI. I think for now, these tasks may not be easy to be replaced, but who knows? We never know. Like 3 years ago, we would never imagine that AI can do A, B, and C. But now, I think even these tasks could be replaced. That's I was worried. Am I positive or neutral? I'm not negative, but I'm still like, I don't know to take which side.
Yeah, and that's a perfect point. I think this should be working as well. And that's a perfect point because, yes, you're right. Some people are worrying more about the social angles of AI. They're worrying more about our children not having critical thinking or losing skills that are critical for survival, or even depending on AI more than they depend on their parents, having AI now as their best friends and reaching, as I mentioned, some unforeseen consequences. You might heard recently of certain AI asking a kid to do something which resulted in an unfortunate event. Some people are different. Some people are more worried about, it's not about their social, but about their jobs, because they feel as AI is becoming so advanced, it will ultimately replace them, or it will reduce the job opportunities in the market, or it will make them, I would say, obsolete because they're not able to take these new skills that are coming, just what happened in the Industrial Revolution for certain jobs. So there's different worries. It depends really on the individual. And to your point, as a family person, we're worried about the society angle. Some people who have just started their career are worried a lot about their career angle. So it really depends.
Another angle is in coding, there's a creativity element. If you leave it to AI, everyone will have the same application. So, you lose that type of activity around, the activity of that human, innovation or creativity part that would be, lost if it just became all vanilla. That's where I think it's important to pay attention because, there's a human part when you're doing today, as you saw the evolution of designing applications, even the user experience, and then it became now empathy. When you're doing an application, you have empathy with the user. That empathy cannot be replicated as a human can do, at least for now. And if you just go and make it a general application, it does its job, but it won't be that creative. Now, what makes some startups or businesses get better than others is that element of making that way of approaching what you need to do. It's not what you do, it's how you do it would make a difference. And AI will do everything the same. My AI, if I'm using a tool that somebody else is using the tool, where's the competitive advantage? You lose that. At least for now, that's the point where it is.
استأذنكم إذا ممكن هذا يكون آخر سؤال علشان ما نأخركم. But are you seeing a trend related to legacy systems and AI? How are the two clashing? How are they impacting?
Yes.
I know this is a challenge we're facing here at Kuwait University. Any word of advice? Or
Yes. So, so we're seeing some positives and negatives. So when it comes to legacy codes, for example, we're actually seeing AI really helping. So for example, we've noticed that there's certain layers when you want to modernize an application. There's certain applications written on code that is becoming obsolete and most of the new generation doesn't know it. And if somebody knows it, you have to pay him a lot to know it. So AI has added massive efficiencies on modernizing existing code. That has been, I would say, a relief in general, whereby it reduced code, it accelerated the modernization understanding of obsolete code or older coding languages, and it helped developers to actually develop and modernize the application in a new code. So using AI in this particular field has really been helpful. Now, in terms of legacy applications, yes, there's a challenge in integration with AI. There's a big challenge in data, big challenge in accessing data. And what we are seeing more and more is there is no one size fits all. What I'm seeing is actually entities developing a new enterprise architecture and seeing what they can salvage of the new layers, whether it's data infrastructure or applications or security, and then doing a migration plan, either to a new modernized infrastructure or or sunsetting certain technical depths that they have. It is a challenge. There's no one size fits all. I'm seeing more adoption of cloud, particular because AI is actually computational heavy. I hope this directionally sets it, Jassim. I'm not sure if you want to add something, but this is kind of like the broad angles where we're seeing AI helping in modernization and AI actually needing modernization to be more impactful.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يعني أنا صراحة في البداية أبي أشكر الدكتور محمد المرزوق على هذه المبادرة اللي فعلا يعني إحنا يمكن أنا عن نفسي أن كان لي تجربة مع جارتنر، تشرفت صراحة أني أنا أستفيد من العقد اللي كان جامعة الكويت يعني بالتعاقد مع جارتنر، وفعلا استفدنا كيوزرز. أنا صراحة أشكر الدكتور محمد على هذه المبادرة، وأشكر الأستاذ جاسم المطوع والأساتذة صراحة، لأن فعلا الآن يعني نحن يمكن بعد ما شفنا العرض وبعد ما سمعنا عن طبعا السيمبوزيوم في جارتنر، أنا واحدة من الناس حضرته أول العام، كان جدا رائع ومفيد. هني راح يعطينا مسؤولية أن الآن إحنا نبدي البحث عن المعرفة، واحنا نقول الحمد لله ترى احنا في جامعة الكويت نعمة كبيرة، نعمة ان احنا عندنا كل الفاسيلتيز متاحة. الى الان القيادات ما شاء الله كانوا موجودين الفترة الصباحية على رأسهم الدكتور عبد الله المطوع، بالإضافة إلى النواب ومساعدين النواب بمختلف القطاعات، تخطيط، الشؤون العلمية، الأكاديمية، المساندة، وأيضاً أكاديمية المساندة سواء بالبارتين لتقنية المعلومات وخدمة المجتمع. هذا يعطينا دافع أن فعلاً القيادات العليا الآن كإدارة جامعية تدفع لهذا النوع من المعرفة وزيادة هذه المعرفة. قطاع التخطيط جزاهم الله خير أيضاً حرصوا على أنهم يكونوا متواجدين، لأن احنا الآن مقبلين على فترة جديدة، مرحلة جديدة في الخطة الاستراتيجية لجامعة الكويت بعد ما انتهينا من المرحلة السابقة. أعتقد الآن لزام علينا إحنا كآي تي، كان أعتقد الجمهور كله الآن مقتصر على الآي تي، لزام علينا الآن إن إحنا فعلا نواكب هذا التطور، وأيضا يكون لنا أثر في عملية التغيير في جامعة الكويت للأفضل وللأحسن، لأن إحنا الآن مقبلين على فترة جدا صراحة أنا أقول حرجة. يمكن البعض عاشر أو يعني كان موجود في في الحقبة القادمة. أنا أقول المعرفة والمعرفة والمعرفة والعلم والاستزادة، ويمكن هذه بالنسبة حق الدورات يمكن اللي هو التركيز على المدراء والمسؤولين، وأنا أقول أيضا مو بس المدراء والمسؤولين، رؤساء الأقسام الركيزة الأساسية في العمل الإداري الآن عندنا، لازم يكون عندهم هذا المفهوم، مفهوم التطور والتكنولوجيا إنها داخلة، هي ما راح تستبدلنا، لكن إحنا راح نشوف إحنا شلون نستخدمها في عملية تطوير العمل والتغيير في جامعة الكويت. شكرا دكتور محمد ما قصرت، وشكرا للحضور، يعطيكم العافية.
والله أنا شاكر لكم، وصراحة يعني وجودكم للأخير يعني يشرفنا، وصراحة واحدة من الأشياء اللي ودي ما دام أنتم قعدتوا وخذينا من طاقتكم، إيش رأيكم أعطيكم طاقة الحين؟ أنا عندي صفقة نصفقها كلها مع بعض، أعد 1 2 3 جاهزين إن نصفقها. يلا 1 صفقة واحدة كلنا مع بعض، 1 2 3. أصليين شفت الطاقة شلون صايرة؟ يلا مشكورين ما قصرتوا. الدكتور.
تسمحوا لي بكلمة أخيرة نيابة عنكم. أحب أشكر الأستاذ جاسم المطوع والأستاذ جو مالك على حضورهم اليوم، لكن أبي أثني على الرسالة اللي تركنا عليها جو الأخيرة. يعني مثل ما تشوفون التحديات كبيرة، لكن مع التحديات دائما opportunities. الرسالة اللي قاعد نحاول نوصلها أن this is not an IT problem, this is a business problem. لكن قطاع الاي تي في أفضل مكان أو مرتكز بمكان أنه ممكن يكون له أكبر أثر في الجامعة، وهذا المعول عليكم. أسأل الله أنه يبارك في جهودكم، ويا ريت يعني thank you Joe, you've given us a lot of insights to think about. أرجو أن هالأفكار هذه تبتدون يعني تأخذونها تفكرون فيها، لعل نتناقش فيها في الأيام القادمة، لأن في كثير من الفرص اللي ممكن نستفيد منها. فأسأل الله أنه يبارك بجهودكم وجزاكم الله خير. طلب أخير، هل هذا شيء ممكن يتكرر كل سنة؟
والله إذا جوينا أكيد.
جزاكم الله خير. مشكورين وما قصرتوا، مشكورين كلكم على الحضور وجيتكم هالفترة هذه كلها. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
السلام.